Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Sister Circle. Today we have Sarah here with us, and Sarah is truly inspired by the sacred space she's created with, actually, she loves with the Holistic Sister Circle. She struggled with she struggled with chronic fatigue and weight issues most of her life, and through having six children, she poured into learning how her body as a woman works and how it was designed to heal. She first started because many women were asking for her support, and she finally realized that if she created content and support, she could help so many more women. Sarah Nicole, I'm so happy that you're here. And I cannot, obviously, when you told me that you had six kids, I didn't even believe you because you look amazing.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. So I'm grateful for us to have this conversation. Can, oh, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I am so excited to be here. I love talking all things health and helping women. That is my passion. So I am so excited to be part of your movement and your podcast. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we dive in, can you tell us a little bit about who is Sarah beyond the titles, beyond the mic, beyond your children? Who are you and what does she do?
Yeah, so gosh, it's such a long story. There's so many phases to life, and I think that's the beautiful thing about being a woman is we can have all these phases and cycles. And so I really did go through a lot of struggles, like since being a child and a teenager. Like that's where it started. I suffered a lot at that point. A lot of it was chronic fatigue, depression, and then as I got older into childbearing years and it was weight issues, like I think a lot of women really have been through and understand. I've been through it 6 times, so the ups and the downs and the hormone changes was a lot. Now, I will preface to say I've always loved health. Okay, even back when I was a younger kid and I didn't know really anything about health, I had this desire to learn it. So I ended up going and getting my bachelor's degree in health science, public health with an emphasis in maternal health and everything. And that kind of led me on a path to the natural health field. And that's kind of who I've become. I've been really in love with our bodies as women, our natural design, and how to naturally attune ourselves to the earth, to just our nourishment, our food, and our relationships around us for like deep transformational healing. And for me, one of the biggest things I want is I didn't want it to be hard. I didn't want it to be like a constant struggle where I was always like fighting the scale, fighting, the latest diet or constantly struggling with my body in general. And so I was like, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to make it easy. And so through all that, anyways, I poured myself into over a decade of research and trial and error, and just a lot of it was just on myself. And then I was able later to share it with so many other women and bless their lives. And so there's a few blocks that I've uncovered that when I help women realize these and work through them, then they are able to finally be in that space of healing where they can now naturally come back to how their bodies were designed. So, yes, I am a mother of six. I live on a 20-acre homestead. That was part of my whole movement to come back to simplicity and out of hustle and live in alignment. It's going to look a little bit different for everybody, but that's what it looked like for me. And of course, it's a lifelong process, but I spend a lot of time in nature. I spend a lot of time learning and meditating and connecting back. So was that good? Was that too long?
No, I love it. I love it. And one of the things I would love for you to touch on while we're on the topic is homesteading. I think this is something that
hmm
people, especially women, like we're all wanting to grow our own food and really focus on, okay, how can we bring back the herbs into our home and what does that process look like? Maybe, some of us are maybe not even in a position to even do that. And I just would love to
hmm
know from your perspective, how did you get into homesteading and how has it really been beneficial for you and your family today?
Right. Okay, I'll share my quick crazy story here. So we were in the military for a little over a decade and came back home to Boise, Idaho, bought my dream home, um, big house for all my kids, and living close to family. It was just the dream, but we always knew we wanted land, and I just felt that calling, and we felt it so strong. So I decided to buy an RV, and it was February in the very middle of like one of the worst snowstorms that they had had in years. We had closed on our house and just moved into our RV and started driving up north. We just started driving around Idaho trying to find land. So we had 6 kids, we had dogs and cats in this RV, and we're just going for it, trying to make our dream come true. And a lot of this came from the hustle, right? We come back from Japan and we come back to Boise and we're like, oh my goodness, there's so many conveniences. Like, I didn't even know what DoorDash was and all this stuff. I wasn't familiar with it because I lived overseas for so long. And it was really neat at first. I'm like, this is so convenient. But just a little bit into it, like it started feeling like almost too convenient. Like there was no connection to the earth. There was no connection to just our daily life. Like, as humans, we were meant to cook our food, to take care of our shelter and take care of our basic needs. And that's like our main connection is to our bodies and the earth. And I just wasn't getting that. And so that's a lot of what drove us to move. So, anyways, long story short, we ended up on our dream, beautiful 20 acres, building from the ground up. But when it comes to health, what I've really learned is you can do it in any space. Like, yes, your environment does matter. Okay. It's a balance. So, your environment does matter to a point. It does not mean you have to leave everything and go live on 20 acres. That's what it meant for me because that was my desire. But that doesn't mean other women have to. You can do things in your home if you feel called to stay in your home in the city, for example, bringing plants into your home, and that's a huge thing. And even animals, like simply having like a cat, the animals like have a higher vibration and they actually have calming centers in them. Like the purring of a cat will calm our nervous systems. And so it can be very simple things within your environment that helps you bring about this healing. Now, I have used a lot of grounding. This is a huge one I would like to touch on, is that connection of our bodies directly onto the earth, right? Without any plastic shoes in between, just like the electrical system in a house needs to be grounded properly. Otherwise, it's going to be completely out of whack. It is the same with our bodies. And some people are going like months without actually touching the earth, and it sends their nervous system into havoc and into fight or flight. And then, when we start going from there, then we cannot, you know, lose the weight. We cannot regain our energy. We're just in this state of depletion. So, yeah.
This is really interesting. And for those who don't know what it means to ground or to touch the earth, can you just elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so it's really getting your bare feet, your bare skin touching the grass and the dirt. And it is okay if you have like maybe 100% cotton or wool blanket and you want to sit on that. You can still electrically ground to the earth. But when you start putting barriers such as plastic and different flooring types, all those synthetic floorings in between us and the earth, then our electrical system cannot properly connect. And when we properly connect through, the best way is I love just going barefoot on like wet grass. When it's wet out there, you're getting even more of that amazing connection to your nervous system. And this can actually heal your body. There are many people who have been able to heal chronic illnesses, inflammation, diabetes, many things just from touching the earth on a regular basis. And so this is something I highly recommend. There are biohacks such as grounding mats. If you do it properly and actually ground them to the outside, and you can sleep on them at night or stand on them in your house, that can be really helpful. I love going for the real deal as much as I can, but it's not always possible. So we can definitely look at other options for sure.
I love that. And my next question is, how do you get your kids involved?
Ooh, yes. My kids love it. So I honestly just living by example. That's my favorite part. And when we are living in something so fully and just enjoying the benefits of it, they come along. So my kids love to come out and collect the medicinal herbs on my property. And so they know how to identify them, and they'll come back and be like, "Mom, I got you a whole bunch of usnea or yarrow or plantain." And even when they're out playing, if they get a cut, they'll find plantain and chew it up and put it on their cut, and they'll do it for their friends, which most of their friends around here are very familiar with the herbs, but sometimes it's a little bit silly. But yeah, they know how to heal a wound out in nature, and they have a lot of bacterial properties when you use them on wounds. And as teas, right? There are so many teas that can help just with the nature around us. There are so many things that I didn't know were medicinal that are. So my kids get involved there. My kids do. They're like, "Oh, mom's grounding. Let's take our shoes off." They'll go out, and kids are naturally barefoot, and when we try to be like children, actually, like they're our example. When we try to follow them, when we play, when we touch the earth with our bare feet and just live freely. And I go jump on the tramp with my kids, just getting the fresh air. Like that's when we have that great connection. So really, we should be looking at our kids and mimicking that.
Ooh, this is so exciting. And how do you get your husband involved as well? And the reason I'm asking
Uh-huh.
this question is because I do have a lot of women that listen to the show
Mhm,
where either they're struggling with getting their kids involved or they're struggling with
mhm,
getting their spouse on board. So yeah, I would
mhm.
love to know your perspective there too.
Yeah, and that can be a difficult one. As married couples, we're two different people, and we have different ideas and beliefs. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Ho'oponopono, but it's an ancient Hawaiian like meditation practice, but it's really for healing relationships and everything in your life. And the idea behind it is I am responsible for everything that shows up in my life. I am not the cause of it, I'm not at the blame of it, but I'm responsible for it. And it really helps to bring about that space where I don't need to control or try to manipulate or force him into believing like I do. And I'll just say my husband is great. He really supports what I do. As he is into it as I am? No, he's not, but he's very passionate about what he does for work to provide for our family, so I really try to support him in that. But as I just live it myself with so much joy and live that Ho'oponopono practice of I am responsible. I can control everything in my reality ultimately by not controlling, by just living in my best self. And as I do that, and then that's how we really start to bring everybody together. That's how we heal relationships, even with the earth and everything. So that's kind of the route that I like to take. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at that or that there's not struggles once in a while, but that is how I try to live with that.
Oh, I'm grateful for you sharing that too, because like I said, there's so many women that do struggle with that. I had someone just
Mhm,
recently comment on one of my posts, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been telling my husband to eat healthy for years and years and years, and now he
mhm,
essentially, I think he had like he was on the borderline of like diabetes or something like that."
mhm,
And she was just like, "Oh my gosh, like what do I do now?" And it's a bit frustrating because he's not listening. And I like what you said, because you can only control what you can control. And one of the things that we can
mhm.
control too, as we're living and we're being, is ourselves. So,
Right.
are we leading by example? Are we showing, our husband too,
Mhm,
like what it actually looks like to do what we say that we want them to do? I think that's super important as well. So I love that you put that spin on it too, because it just ties
right.
back into just making sure that you are fully in control of like being your best self. So I think that's super helpful.
Right. Yeah. And to go with that, like it is hard in the health space when we are seeing other people not choose health for their bodies, whether it's a spouse or a friend or somebody. It is really difficult because there's a lot of struggle with health in our society. So, to that woman and to all of you who are worrying about that same thing, because I have been there and I feel that sometimes, I would highly suggest looking into the Ho'oponopono. It's a very simple Hawaiian meditation prayer that's just, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you and I'm grateful. And it just raises your vibration. And when you do that, everything around you is magnetized to you and their vibration raises too. So just think about it that way. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, of course, of course. Okay, so let's get into it. Sarah, how do you actually work with your clients? Like, what does that process look like? Obviously, we know that you do so much in your household with your family, and now we have an opportunity to, not just for you to share that with us, but now how you're expanding from your family to the world and sharing those gifts. What is that? What does that process look like?
Right. So I really, really love working one-on-one with women. And the reason is because every person is so unique. They are so different. And I have women coming all the time. They're like, I have been to the personal trainer, I've been to the dietitian. They've tried all these things and nothing's working. And like I shared before, I have discovered three main blocks that women are running into, and I'll name them real quick. I won't have time to expound, but you'll kind of get the gist. But mindset is one, huge. Like this was a game changer, like the number one game changer in my journey is start thinking about myself as I wanted to be, not as I am now. So that's absolutely huge, and that can take a lot of support to shift and change. The next one is stress. And when women are in stress, fight or flight, then their bodies will not release weight. They will be exhausted constantly and they won't be able to heal. They're in chronic inflammation. And so that again can take some help. And it's not just mental stress. A lot of it's the physical stress, such as extreme dieting puts a lot of stress on us. So that's the other one. And then nourishment is the other one, like proper nourishment, not, extreme dieting, not too much of something, not too, a lot of times everybody's in extremes in our society. And I work off of balance. Every single thing in life is a balance. Like everything has two opposites, and our job is to learn how to come back to that balance. And that's what I help women do. I love doing that one-on-one. I do have an inner healing circle where you can just sign up with your email and it's free. And I've got my podcast goes out. I have coaching moments that go out, just a whole bunch of stuff that just shows up in your inbox on a regular basis so that you have that support. But I do have deeper support in a one-on-one circle. And I've created this circle where it's like a three-part phase that can just keep going. You can keep going deeper. You can go in different areas. And that is my favorite because I can really help women see their blocks and see that specific thing that has been stopping them from getting to that place of healing. So I love that. That's all at sarahnicholecoaching.com. You can find everything there is probably the best place.
Yeah, no, this is super helpful. And for those, one of the things that we do talk about a lot too is sometimes people know that they have a symptom, but they don't necessarily know what is causing that symptom or if they actually need help
Mhm.
right now. So my
Right.
question for you is, if we were thinking of just a practical step, practical next step for
Mhm.
someone who may not necessarily know if they need everything, or they may not know what's causing it, whether it's the mindset or
Mhm.
the stress or if they're malnourished. What would just be some practical things that you could share with them as a first next step?
Absolutely. One of my very, very favorites is so simple. Actually, most of my stuff is so simple, but it's from different angles, is hydration, water. I have helped so many women heal things that like seems so dramatic simply by drinking water. And yeah, I go a little bit deeper into how to properly hydrate because obviously we don't want to flush everything out. We want the right electrolytes and everything. But just start by drinking water. I've had, a client who had terrible pain for like a year and a half every morning and like low energy. I got her to drink like a cup or two of water every morning, and within a week it was gone. She was amazed. It's like these simple things that we don't realize. So please drink water. And the other thing I'm going to say is find something to do that you love. Take, I don't know, whatever you want to do, an hour out of your day, or maybe take a weekend, whatever feels good to you, and play. Do something that feels really good and nourishing to like your feminine energy, because our feminine energy is so different than the masculine, but we need to learn how to live in it again so that we get out of that fight or flight. And this is going to help with that stress point that I'm talking about. So do something very nourishing. Maybe it's a bubble bath, reading your favorite book, and doing it with complete complete intention and just nourish your body. Like those two things alone are going to help you so much. They're going to just, and then they're going to open your mind to so much more that you can do. So,
I love that. I'm just like, ooh, I want to take a bath tonight.
yeah, you should. You should.
Oh my gosh. Well, Sarah, this has been incredible. I'm so grateful that we had the opportunity to do this. And I know that we
Yes.
learned so much. And I wish we had more time with you. But without
Yeah.
further ado, if anyone was looking to reach out to you, can you just share where they can connect with you one more time?
Yeah, the best would be sarahnicholecoaching.com. It's SarahNichole. So H is in both my names. And from there, you'll be able to find all my resources. You can, if you want to work with me one on one, or if you want to sign up for the free inner healing circle, I've also got some amazing supplements that I have partnered with that I absolutely love. So all of that is on my website. And yeah, I've also got meditations on YouTube. That's right. So YouTube, Whole Life, Mind and Body, or Sarah Nichole Coaching. You'll be able to find me there too.
I love it. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for
Yes.
your time. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.